This video may be on the short side due to the size of the figure and how he's so stiff in some places I can barely move him. I would also like to apologise for all the dust on this figure. I got him for Christmas and he's been sat on my shelf ever since. I've only really put him in a couple different poses. Now you can't really see it in this light, but his head is a little bit faded. It looks orange when the rest of the body looks red. I don't know if you can see it in this clip here. Same goes for like the lower ab crunch. It's a bit dark, a bit faded, which you kind of have to expect considering his age. He has the pattern on the fabric throughout all the blue parts. He has pinless joints, but there are these little squares where the pins would be, so maybe they're covered up and inside the arm, I don't know. There's a pretty big gap on the back of the head. The back of the figure looks fine, great even, especially compared to the front. However, there are little marks and scratches on him. Now for accessories, I don't have them. You would have this little bracelet thing that would attach to his wrist that blended in with his wrist. It was the same pattern as his suit. And you could swap out the web accessories, but I bought this figure used, so I don't have any of them. Also, looking at it now, it looks like there's this little button. Maybe you could press it and there was like a spring mechanism that could shoot the web. That would be even cooler. Now for articulation, I'm kind of dreading because of his size and again how stiff he is because of his age. He looks pretty ominous and weird in this clip I accidentally took. I just wanted to show that off. He has a ball joint at the head that allows him to move, and he also has a ball joint inside the neck, which for 2004 standards is pretty good. This allows an incredible range of head pivot. Also, his head is insanely loose, which is why I always keep a little bit of blue tack in it, but this time I didn't have to. Has a diaphragm joint that moves left and right, not really forward, which is why he has a lower ab crunch and a ball joint at the waist, I believe, which is the most articulated waist and ab articulation I've ever seen. He has butterfly joints on his left and right arm. His shoulder can move upwards and rotate. And he, of course, also has a bicep swivel because he's the superposable Spider-Man. Double jointed elbows, while on this arm it is too stiff and I'll end up breaking it if I try any harder. He has like a lower arm swivel, like the calf version of the arm. And a hinge at the wrist. He also has this little hinge at the thumb so you can move it inwards. And he has a hinge on, well, the knuckle of the thumb. The other four fingers basically have the same articulation. I don't think they can rotate, but they have a hinge at the bottom of the finger, a hinge at the middle, and the hinge at the very end knuckle, so you can basically make him do any hand gestures that you want. Now, to show off his leg articulation, it's the stiffest of the whole figure, so I'm gonna do it on my floor because I do not feel like knocking everything over on my desk. His leg is by far the hardest to move. It can kick up that far, probably a bit more if I tried a bit harder. I'm not going to move the other leg, but as you can tell, he can definitely do the splits. He of course has a thigh swivel and double jointed knees, which are surprisingly easy to move. I think it's because he stands up most of the time. He has a calf swivel, but it's lower than he usually is, so it actually allows the top of the boot on the red part to be curving instead of just being a straight cut like on the smaller figures. For foot articulation, he has a hinge at the foot. What am I saying? He has a hinge at the foot and this little other bit of articulation that allows him to turn his foot in a lot, and he has not one but two toe hinges. Now, being the 18-inch Spider-Man, this guy is almost the same height as my TV, so for the comparisons you're gonna just see his foot, but you should get a pretty good idea of how tall the figures are next to him. Here he is next to the 2004 magnetic Spider-Man. Here he is next to the 2004 web trap Spider-Man. Here he is next to the superposable 2004 Spider-Man. Here he is next to, wait, I've forgotten his name, the spin and kick Spider-Man. Here he is next to the 2002 battle damage Spider-Man. Here he is next to the latest Spider-Man, if you don't include the Mafex. I would like to show him next to the Mafex, however I don't have him. So let's just pretend that I do for now. Here he is next to the new Marvel well, it's not really new, but you know. And here he is next to the movie Shadow and Super Shadow figure. And I gotta say, they worked perfectly in scale. Despite the fading and the paint smudges, well, marks really, and how stiff he is, I'll still give him a 9 out of 10 just because the defects he has is really due to age, not just how the figure is.